On September 5th, 1977, NASA launched a spacecraft called Voyager 1. The mission was simple: fly past Jupiter and Saturn, collect data, send it back. 5 years, maybe 6, then it would end. That was 49 years ago. Voyager 1 is still running. Right now, it is 15.8 billion miles from Earth, moving at 38,000 miles per hour. A signal sent to it this moment takes 23 hours and 40 minutes to arrive. In the time it takes you to watch this video, it will have traveled another 15,000 miles, further than it has ever been before, further than anything humanity has ever sent, and it still has not left our solar system. Most people assume that is a simple thing, leaving the solar system. Cross the last planet, clear the boundary, done. But the solar system does not end at Neptune. It does not end where the sun's light fades. It extends so far beyond anything we have ever mapped that a spacecraft traveling for half a century at 38,000 miles per hour needs another 30,000 years just to reach the other side. This is what that distance actually looks like. To understand why that last fact is true, you need to first understand something about the way distance works at cosmic scale. Because human beings are not built for this. Our intuitions evolved on the African savanna, calibrated for distances of a few miles, maybe a few hundred. We can feel the difference between a kilometer and a marathon. We cannot feel the difference between 1,000,000 miles and 1,000,000,000. Both numbers are just large. So here is a comparison that might actually land. If the solar system were shrunk down to the size of the United States, coast to coast, roughly 2,800 miles, then Earth would be about 1 inch from the western edge. The Sun would be a basketball sitting in Los Angeles. Neptune, the outermost planet, would be somewhere around Chicago. And Voyager 1, after 49 years of flight at 38,000 miles per hour, it would be about 4 inches past Chicago, the outer edge of the solar system. The true outer edge, not the planets, but the full extent of the Sun's gravitational reach, would be somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Voyager 1 is still well inside the continent. The launch happened on September 5th, 1977. Kennedy Space Center, Florida. Jimmy Carter was in the White House. Star Wars had been in theaters for 3 months. The personal computer did not exist in any commercial form. A Titan Centaur rocket carried Voyager 1 off the pad and into orbit. From there, an upper stage fired and sent it on a precise trajectory calculated by orbital mechanics, one that would carry it past Jupiter, then Saturn, using the gravity of each planet to gain speed for the next leg of the journey. This technique, called a gravity assist, is the reason Voyager 1 is moving as fast as it is. Each planetary flyby added velocity without burning a single drop of fuel. The computers on board have a combined memory of 68 kilobytes. A single low-resolution emoji on your phone is 4 kilobytes. A typical photo is 4,000. The machine, currently operating further from Earth than any object in human history, runs on less computing power than a wristwatch. The mission was planned for 5 years. Jupiter appears in March 1979, and immediately Voyager 1 begins overturning assumptions that had been held for decades. Io, Jupiter's innermost large moon, roughly the size of our own moon, was expected to be a dead, cratered rock. Instead, Voyager's cameras captured active volcanic eruptions happening in real time, plumes of sulfur dioxide reaching 300 kilometers into space. Lava flows covering a surface so geologically active that craters, which form over billions of years, have been buried before they can accumulate. Io is being continuously torn apart and remade by the tidal forces of Jupiter's immense gravity, stretched and squeezed with every orbit until the interior melts and the heat escapes through hundreds of volcanoes simultaneously. No one predicted this. The discovery arrived in the data like a detonation. Europa, the next moon outward, showed something different and in some ways more significant. Its surface is ice, cracked, reddish, crisscrossed with lines that look, from certain angles, like the surface of a broken eggshell. Those cracks suggest movement, ice shifting above something liquid. Below Europa's frozen surface, there is almost certainly an ocean of liquid water, kept from freezing by the same tidal forces heating Io, sealed beneath kilometers of ice in total darkness, potentially for billions of years. Europa became, in a single Voyager flyby, one of the most scientifically compelling objects in the solar system. It still is. Voyager 1 photographed the Jovian system for less than 2 weeks. Then Jupiter's gravity flung it outward towards Saturn at a speed it could never have reached on its own. Saturn arrives in November 1980. The rings, seen from Earth for 350 years as 2 or 3 simple bands, reveal themselves to be something completely different up close. Not bands. Thousands of individual ringlets, each one a stream of ice and rock orbiting Saturn at its own precise speed, separated from adjacent streams by gaps carved by the gravitational resonance of small moons. Wave patterns spiral outward through the ring plane. The narrow F ring, barely 500 kilometers wide, is braided, twisted into a structure that took years to explain mathematically. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, does not give up its secrets easily. Its atmosphere is so thick with nitrogen and orange hydrocarbon haze that Voyager 1's cameras see only an oic orange sphere. But the instruments measuring temperature, pressure, and chemical composition tell a story of a world with weather, with rain and rivers and lakes, except that the liquid is not water. At Titan's surface temperature of minus 179 degrees Celsius, methane stays liquid. Rain falls as methane. Rivers of methane cut channels in the ice. Lakes of methane sit in craters near the poles. A world with weather cycles, erosion, and shorelines, just made of entirely different stuff. After Saturn, NASA tilts Voyager 1's trajectory upward out of the plane of the solar system, and it begins its long climb into interstellar space. No more planets, no more flybys, just distance. February 14th, 1990. Voyager 1 is 3.7 billion miles from Earth. Engineers at JPL command it to turn around and take a photograph looking back at the solar system. One final image before the cameras are shut off permanently to conserve power. In that image, in a scattered ray of sunlight from the camera's own optics, there is a dot, pale blue, less than a pixel wide. That is Earth. Carl Sagan, who spent years fighting to get this photograph taken before the cameras went dark, wrote about what he saw. He described a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. He noted that every human being who had ever lived and died on that dot, every king and peasant, every act of heroism and cowardice, every invention and destruction, every religion ever followed, and every truth ever discovered, all of it on a point of light too small to measure precisely against the background of space. After that photograph, Voyager 1's cameras were powered off. They have not operated since. The spacecraft flies without eyes, guided only by instruments and by the commands of engineers on a planet it can no longer see. In 2026, sending a command to Voyager 1 and receiving a reply takes 47 hours and 20 minutes. The signal leaves Earth at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second, the fastest speed that physics permits anything to travel. It crosses the 15.8 billion miles to Voyager 1 in 23 hours and 40 minutes. The spacecraft processes the command and sends back confirmation. That signal crosses the same distance again. Total round trip, just under 2 days. This has never happened before in the history of space exploration. Mars, at its farthest, is 22 light minutes away. Jupiter is 50 light minutes. Saturn is 80. Every deep space mission ever flown has involved delays measured in minutes. Voyager 1 is on a different timescale entirely. When something goes wrong, and in 2023 something did go seriously wrong, the team at JPL cannot react in real time. In late 2023, Voyager 1 began transmitting garbled, unreadable data. The spacecraft appeared to be functioning normally. No fault indicators, instruments running, power stable. But the science data coming back to Earth was noise. The diagnosis took months. Every test required a command sent into a 47-hour void, then a wait for whatever came back. Eventually, engineers identified a single corrupted memory chip in one of the flight computers, a chip that could not be replaced, touched, or physically accessed in any way. Their solution was to rewrite the flight software around the damaged chip, distributing the affected code across 3 separate memory locations in other parts of the computer. This was done remotely, across 15 billion miles, in assembly language, on hardware from 1977 with a 2-day delay on every step. It worked. On November 18, 2026, Voyager 1 will cross a threshold no human-made object has ever crossed. At 2:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, it will reach a distance of exactly 1 light day from Earth. The distance light travels in 24 hours, 16.1 billion miles. At that moment, a signal sent from Earth will take a full day just to arrive at the spacecraft. The reply will take another full day to return. NASA has already published the exact timestamp. Humanity has known this moment was coming for decades, the way you might watch a clock approach midnight on New Year's Eve. Except the clock has been running for 49 years, and the midnight only arrives once in the entire history of the species. In 2012, after 35 years of flight, Voyager 1 crossed the heliopause, the boundary where the solar wind loses pressure and gives way to the interstellar medium. Every major news outlet ran the same story. Voyager 1 leaves the solar system. But the solar system is not the same thing as the heliosphere. The heliosphere is defined by the sun's particle output. The solar system is defined by the sun's gravity. These are not the same boundary. Gravity weakens with distance, but never stops. The question of where the solar system truly ends is the question of where the sun's gravity becomes weaker than the gravitational pull of neighboring stars. That boundary is the outer edge of the Oort Cloud. The Oort Cloud is a vast spherical shell of frozen objects, comets, ice, rock, that completely surrounds the solar system on all sides. Nobody has ever seen it directly. No telescope can resolve individual objects at that distance. Its existence is inferred from orbital dynamics alone. Long-period comets arrive from every direction equally, pointing to a spherical reservoir enclosing the entire system. Its inner edge begins at roughly 2,000 times the Earth-Sun distance. Its outer edge extends to 100,000 times that distance. Voyager 1 will reach the inner edge in approximately 300 years. It will take 30,000 more years to reach the other side. 30,000 years. The Egyptian pyramids at Giza were built approximately 4,500 years ago. The oldest known writing dates back about 5,500 years. All of recorded human civilization spans roughly 6,000 years. Voyager 1 needs 5 times all of recorded human history just to exit the outer boundary of our solar system, traveling at 38,000 miles per hour without stopping, without slowing. The power is running out. Voyager 1's 3 radioisotope thermoelectric generators lose approximately 4 watts of output every year. At launch in 1977, they produced 470 watts. In 2026, they produce roughly 250 watts, barely enough to run a few household light bulbs. That 220-watt reduction over 49 years has forced a continuous series of decisions. Which instrument gets turned off next? Which heater gets sacrificed to keep the computers warm? Which system goes into standby that was never designed to wake up again? Of the 11 scientific instruments Voyager 1 carried at launch, 2 were still operating in 2026. In April 2026, the low-energy charged particle detector was powered down after 49 years of continuous operation. Its internal motor had been rated for 250,000 steps during testing on Earth. It accumulated 8.5 million before it was finally switched off. The team at JPL is currently preparing a procedure they internally call the Big Bang, a high-risk electrical maneuver designed to recover usable power from the aging generators by rerouting current through systems not originally designed for this purpose. By the early 2030s, Voyager 1 will transmit its last signal. The physics is fixed. The plutonium decays on a schedule no one controls. After the last signal, Voyager 1 continues in 40,272 AD. Roughly 38,000 years from now, Voyager 1 will make its closest approach to another star, Gliese 445, a red dwarf in the constellation Camelopardalis, will be 1.7 light-years away. Voyager 1 will pass without interaction and continue. In 5 billion years, the Sun expands into a red giant and consumes the inner planets. Earth is incinerated. Every ocean, every mountain, every trace of every organism that ever lived on this planet is destroyed. Voyager 1, by then tens of thousands of light-years away, continues. Bolted to its side is a 12-inch gold-plated copper disc, the Golden Record. Assembled in 1977 under Carl Sagan's direction, it contains greetings in 55 languages, sounds from Earth, ocean waves, thunder, bird calls, a newborn's cry, a human heartbeat, 115 images encoded in analog signals, and 90 minutes of music from across human history. Its cover is engraved with instructions for playing it, written in the language of physics. The probability that any intelligence ever finds this record approaches 0. The galaxy contains 400 billion stars. A car-sized object moving through that volume has odds of accidental discovery that are essentially impossible across any human timescale. But the people who built it already knew that. They put it there anyway, not because they believed it would be found. Because if you are going to send something into the dark forever, you might as well make it something worth finding. Right now, 10 miles further from Earth than it was 1 second ago, Voyager 1 is moving through the interstellar medium, sending data back to Earth at 160 bits per second on 250 watts of power, across a distance that takes light itself nearly 24 hours to cross. The people tracking it work in a building in Pasadena, California. They send commands into a 47-hour void and wait. They are maintaining a spacecraft older than most of them, running software written in a language almost no one uses anymore, on hardware that exists nowhere else on Earth. They are the last people who will ever communicate with Voyager 1. When the signal finally fades, when the numbers stop arriving and the silence becomes permanent, Voyager 1 will be on its own. No guidance, no correction, no contact. Just momentum and the gold disk on its side, moving outward into a solar system so vast it will take another 30,000 years to cross, into a galaxy it will never finish crossing, into a universe that may not end before Voyager 1 does. This is what 49 years looks like from the outside. From the inside, it looks like a beginning.